Well, we are about to go live with the press release, of course, and I'm your hostess, Portia. It's going to be an interesting conversation. I got Mark Wilson in the building. Yes! It's about to go down. Alrighty. It's my come on music. It's gonna be alright.
Am I on?
No, not yet. Thank you for tuning in. It's October the 20th, 2017. And I'm not sure where you're tuning in tonight, but it's 9 p.m. in Eastern North Carolina. Welcome to the press release, and I'm your hostess, Portia Bright. Guess what? It's Friday, y'all, which means two things. It's the third Friday in October, and nowadays, every day is National Something Day. So for when I gather, today is National Mammogram Day, which coincides with the fact that October is Breast Cancer Awareness and Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So I like to think of October as one of those special months where it's all about the ladies. God saying to us specifically that we were made to be more than sublime. In fact, if you're into zodiac signs, then you know that it's Libra season as well. Yes, I'm shouting out all the Libras. Us Libras, we're into keeping life in the balance, and we're very enthusiastic and big-hearted, amongst other things. So notice I said we. Yes, I'm on an October baby too. And in fact, this is the eve of my 32nd birthday. So if you're listening tonight, then I want to thank you for being present in this moment with me. If I wake up tomorrow, October the 21st, then I'll have another day of grace and mercy on my side. It's like that song says, how did I make it through the years? How did I make it through the storms? I know it had to be you. It was God's grace, God's grace. Come on, y'all. I know y'all remember that Luther Barnes song. Talk about a classic. Yes, honey. So, if you hadn't noticed by now, I kind of like to kick the show off with a little praise break, and I hope you're feeling these awesome vibes as well. So, on another note, awesome listeners, I have a very special show for you this evening. And plus, we have a special guest that I want to introduce you to in a moment. So, before we go any deeper into the show, allow me to do a little housekeeping. Wherever you're listening in right now, I want to encourage you to encourage your friends to link in with us on Facebook at Awesome Radio 106.9 FM or the press release with Portia Bright. You can also check us out online at wbisawesome.org. And for my Apple carriers, how about download the app Awesome Radio NC? Don't forget about the Android users. We haven't forgot about you, of course. We'll be having the app for you soon. And also, I like to remind you, there are also sponsorship opportunities that you can partake in. And in fact, you can instant message the press release with Portia Bright on Facebook or Awesome Radio 106.9. Oh yeah, and I'll be opening up the lines a little later to give you a chance to weigh in on and partake on the dialogue. So keep your dial locked for that number a little later in the show. Right here at the press release, of course, my mission is to keep you informed on news that you need to know. So with that being said, let's get into what you need to know this week. So, of course, we've been covering the news about what's taking place in Raleigh at the legislature, such as redistricting and gerrymandering, the governor veto overrides in healthcare, as well as employment opportunities. So this week, I want to take a look at how Raleigh politics are trickling down into small municipalities, such as Greenville, which brings me to my first topic of the evening, politics in Greenville, North Carolina. So as I mentioned a little earlier in the show, I have a special guest for you to help us digest some of the information. And I'm more than sure that you've heard of him. And if you're listening domestically, allow me to give you a little background. Mark Whitson is a former radio operator and McDonald's franchise owner. He's worked with Vitamin Health professionals for years to help raise awareness about key issues, from diabetes to heart disease. He's also served on various boards, and he is the current owner of a media firm right here in Greenville, North Carolina. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Mark Woodson. Welcome to Awesome Radio. How are you?
Well, thank you, Portia, for inviting me to the press release. Your show.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, God, Mr. Woodson.
Thank you for inviting me. You know something?
What?
I had you on my show a lot of times. You just inviting me?
Yes. Well, I had to wait till I got things all in order and everything to invite my, all important VIP guests and everything. But we know all the awesome listeners are VIP guests, so don't forget that. So, of course, one of my favorite quotes of yours is, if you pay attention to what's happening in the community, you'll find there are many opportunities for everyone right here in Greenville a little bit. Tell our awesome listeners a little bit about yourself and how you actually got involved into the community and politics in Greenville, North Carolina.
Well, I actually started out in communication working for AT&T some years ago as a manager and retired from that. And as you mentioned, I became a McDonald's owner operator. But after about 6 years, I decided to buy a couple of radio stations, one in Newberry on WWNB 1490, and also at the time WCU 1570, when I'm brand new. And there, at both those stations, I had a chance to meet and interview and work with elected officials, candidates, and we began to do political spots for many of those campaigns and for many of those individuals. So in 2013, when I sold the station, we started a media group, and we continued to interface with those candidates and still do those political ads for those candidates, and we're doing some now. And we do them not only almost every election year. We've done them in 2017, almost every year. Also in 2018, we've had some folks already contact us to do some ads. And also, I served on the Redevelopment Commission for 5 years, serving as chair for 2 years. And as on that committee, I had a chance to meet with a lot of different individuals who were involved in politics, who were elected officials, and who were various candidates and had different viewpoints.
Awesome. So tell me this, from your perspective, what is the current climate of politics here in Greenville?
Just like it is nationally, not good. And also the same thing is true at the state level and the local level. You have talked about gerrymandering, and overall the drawing of districts have really polarized the electorate. And we have Republicans and Democrats, so on both extremes end of the spectrum. Our local elections are supposed to be bipartisan for municipal candidates, but now candidates are running as slates and getting funded by PACs, and there's unlimited money pouring into these local races, and some have even changed parties in order to attract or to deceive voters. And I think that is an issue, because the way local politics you would envision would be someone who had a regular job in the community, and they would go in and they would just spend time to help society, help other citizens. But now they almost turn it into a full-time job or a crusade. Can I beat somebody down, and can we throw people out of office? It's no longer that working together. People are choosing sides.
I think you're so right about that. I feel like everybody has their own way, or the way they want to go about doing things and get things accomplished. And then I feel like there's those people too who necessarily don't want to do the right way or do the right thing. However, they want to go around and cut corners and cut deals and things like that. And it kind of messes up the whole system. I kind of think of it as everybody throwing their own monkey wrench in, Yeah,
and that wouldn't be, I wouldn't say it wouldn't be so bad, and it's still bad, but now you're getting this outside money that's coming in. And we have seen an effort where there's certain political parties or certain interest groups. They've taken over the Washington bureaucracy. They've done it at the state level, which I know you work at. And now they have made a commitment. What I've heard is that they have committed to take over at the local level. And they have targeted 9 cities here in North Carolina where they're going to influence and take over the city council.
Well,
and Greenville is one of those.
I can tell Greenville is one of them. I actually heard about a super PAC that had funded a lot of the candidates that are actually on the ballot this actual November. And we've been seeing a lot of backlash from that, and people having conversations about, changing parties and, endorsing candidates who are not even a part of your party. So that had kind of stabbed me in the back a little bit, because, I'm going to go hard Democrat now. So I'm kind of like, my fellow Democrats, how are you going to tell somebody else to vote Republican, but you in the Democratic Party? Come on.
And I was going to mention that a little bit later, but since you
You know I had to go there now.
Yeah, you went there before I did.
You know I had to.
You know, and let's take our current city council as an example. You know, when Mayor Thomas, who just resigned just a few months ago, you had 6 council members.
Yeah.
4 of the council members were Democrats. You had Rose Glover, Candace Smith, Calvin Mercer, and Rick Smiley were Democrats. Chris Garley and Jake and Conley were Republicans. You would expect the Democrats to vote together.
Totally.
But we had 2 Democrats who always end up siding with the Republicans.
Yeah.
And, you know, it makes you wonder where their loyalties lie, to be honest about it.
You know, I'm speechless on it because I'm kind of like, I'm looking up to these people and I'm kind of like, you know, you were there before me. So you created paths and things like that and laid out the groundwork for people, young people like myself to come in and be like, hey, you know, this is something that I can admire. But when you find